I'm just gonna test these. Test. You talking to yours?
Yo, what's up, bitch?
Test.
Yo, what's up, bitch?
I sound like I have the deepest voice. Oh, that's funny. All right, I'm gonna record. Okay, what are we talking about first?
Midlife crisis.
Have you gone through a midlife crisis already?
I mean, I kind of wonder if I'm going through one now, but I'm too young. I'm kidding. Okay, are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Rolling. Tina Turner. Okay, so we're back, guys. What's up? How are you? So today we're going to talk about midlife crisis. And I joke with Lay that I think that I might be going through one, not trying to age myself here, but we've done a little bit of research and we're going to share some stuff with you. And maybe you're feeling some of these things. I mean, you might be even feeling some of these things because statistically you're in this kind of age range, believe it or not.
So I think I went I think I skipped.
Well, your lashes look really great. I'm sorry, off topic.
Really?
Yeah.
You know I did it just now in 3.7 seconds.
Why do you remind me how ugly I am compared to you? Keep going.
Okay, so I think that I skipped the whole midlife crisis and went like straight grandma mode.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to bed at 9:30 before dating, so I'm pure grandma too.
No, I don't think that that's grandma though.
What do you mean grandma?
Like
Stada Baba, like what?
Like gardening, crocheting. Like I went full ass grandma mode. Like I skipped the midlife crisis.
Got it.
But I just turned 32, so like maybe there's still
Yeah,
time.
like just a couple days ago, everyone. Yeah. Happy birthday, Lay.
But maybe that's why.
Okay.
Like I still have time probably, but I feel like I I skipped right through.
Yeah.
Right through midlife crisis mode and just went full ass grandma.
Yeah, where like I was locked down early and now I feel like I'm living parts of my life that I haven't experienced that I should have experienced in my 20s. So I feel like it's weird, like I'm older, but I'm doing things that I should have done younger that I haven't gone through. So I feel younger,
right,
and unexperienced in a weird way. So let's first talk about this here. So a midlife crisis is defined as a period of emotional turmoil, typically in middle age, around 40 and older, can go up to 60 years old. And it is characterized by a strong desire or will to change. That's the definition of it, though.
Okay.
And being in your midlife can basically make you want to have the human experience. So you're looking or yearning for something that maybe you had missed out on, or you're feeling like life might be finite. Like you can feel that there's a bit of an expiry. Yeah, and maybe like things you haven't done yet.
Yeah.
So apparently 10 to 20% of adults claim to have experienced a midlife crisis only, though, which seems super low. I feel like people might not know that they're having one.
I feel like it's like a spectrum.
Right.
Yeah. Like you don't need to like get a divorce and like marry a 26-year-old and buy a Porsche.
But here's the thing though, not gonna lie. I'm totally going to like put a group of men in a box here. I feel like you can tell when a man's going through a midlife crisis.
Totally. You can like see
they
from
start
a mile
going to the
away.
gym, or they start changing the way they dress, and they buy the sports car.
Yeah. So you can see it from a mile away.
Right. It's like the little dick syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Except you're just middle aged.
Except you're just middle aged. It's like the little dog.
Yeah, that's true.
You got like the loud bark.
Yeah.
Doesn't bite though.
Yeah.
So
you can.
Right.
You can tell for sure.
Okay, so it says here typically a midlife crisis can be triggered by any number of major factors that come into your life, but the big ones are divorce, a death of a close loved one, boredom, or a significant life event. And it basically makes you ponder your identity and your purpose in life. Now, we're going to get into some of these things because there's common signs and symptoms of midlife crisis that I thought we should discuss. And the research I did here for Lay and I, it talks about like people are going through it way younger. And is why I kind of wondered if I was going through it. And I definitely went to Google, I'm not going to lie, because I was like, is this a midlife crisis? Like,
you WebMD'd midlife crisis.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what's going on with me?
Yeah.
So yeah, where do you want to go with this? Do you want me to talk about what people might feel like, or do you want to talk about common signs?
I feel like we should talk about your signs first.
My signs.
Yeah, if you feel like you have signs of a midlife crisis, and then we can reference
Okay,
the
so
research.
I feel like turning 40, I'm halfway through my life. And if you want to go deeper, no one has lived until 80 years old in my family.
Okay.
That's a little morbid.
Yeah.
But like, we don't have a long shelf life, so to speak, in my family. So for me, it's like I'm actually past the midway point in my life. Now, yes, I'm healthy. Yes, medicine is different now. But if I'm looking at like the roots in my family and like genetics
average,
and history,
yeah.
it's like, well, fuck me.
Yeah.
I'm like past the halfway mark. Then, I went through some stuff in my personal life, and a lawyer brought it to my attention that your largest earning years for income for any human being, no matter your career, is 40 to 50.
Right.
So I'm also kind of like thinking like, well, what is this next decade going to bring for me, and what do I want from it? And if that's the case, like if that's like your largest earning potential for any person, I'm just like, I have like 10 years left to like grow my career, grow my brands, the business, and like try and make what I want of myself, because I have accomplished what I've wanted in life. And this is my second career, as you know. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what do I really want out of these next 10 years? And how am I going to maybe break it down into 5-year plans and make things happen? Not that like you can't progress or make even more money or have potential earnings after 50. Yeah. That's just like the generic stat about earning your income potential is 40 to 50. Yeah. So like those are kind of my thoughts right there. Then the fact that like I've lost like 20 years. And I say that with like a grain of salt. I was with somebody for 15 years, and then I had a horrible car accident that monopolized like 5.5 years of my life with a lawsuit and rehab and all of that. Right. So it's like the last 20 years, I focused mostly on my career, mm-hmm. And my partner, but I didn't foster other parts of my life. And then changing careers and having the accident, it's like I'm really trying to hone into the areas that I want to foster. Mm-hmm. And as much as I want to grow as far as like the business goes, and obviously this venture with you, which I just said off air, excites me more than anything these days. Mm-hmm. It's like there's other parts of my life that I haven't fostered or devoted the same amount of time. And my mom tells me that all the time. She's like, if you applied the same amount of effort and energy to like meeting a man that you do your business or your macros or you're working out, you probably would be in like a nice, healthy, loving relationship.
Right. And we talked about that too. Like
right.
Sacrificing, not even sacrificing, just making the choice
right,
to do something that you wouldn't do otherwise.
Yeah, and having something take a back seat for a different priority based on where you're at a certain stage in your life.
Yeah.
Which I agree with.
Yeah. So could a midlife crisis be defined as you changing your priorities?
Well, for me, or do you mean statistically? Because statistically, it talks about like one's purpose.
Yeah.
Right? So
maybe that person didn't feel like they're even on track to fulfill their life.
I think there's a lot of people who probably work a 9 to 5 and aren't doing what they love. Yeah. And they're not passionate about their job, but it pays the bills. Mm-hmm. And so I think that a lot of people would fall into that scenario where they feel like they're not living their best life, or they're not here living their life's purpose.
Right.
You and I are fortunate that we actually do love what we do and it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm not like that. Like I don't feel like unfulfilled. But I don't want to have regrets. Mm-hmm. Right? I also have injuries that I know are going to get worse as I age. Like I already have arthritis and things like that. And so it's like, I don't want to wait to travel because I might not see these countries the way that I would want to see them. Maybe my body won't hold up. Maybe I can't like walk and do sightseeing and touring the way that I would want to do.
Right.
So I'm in this weird predicament, and you and I have talked a lot about this, like off air again, about like, what do I do? Like, do I take a sabbatical from work?
Mm-hmm.
Do I take some time off and like explore and to process what's happened to me and like heal on a different spiritual level that I haven't done? Because like I've done the work with the professionals,
right,
and my bones have healed, and you know my heart has healed. But with trauma, it's easy how you can bury things, and we choose to forget what we want, and you've not really actually like
dealt with it,
healed from it. Yeah. And I definitely experienced a little bit of that in Tulum for my birthday, because I was like, wow, this is the first time that I've been able to like clear my head and not have something to distract me, because I'm also noticing that as busy as I am, distraction is a form of anxiety, and like I openly talk about having anxiety and PTSD. So yeah, like there's a part of me that wants to travel now. Like, why not now? I don't have a family, I don't have a partner. So if there's opportunities to travel with people, why not do it now when I can afford to and I'm able and willing, especially with my body.
Yeah.
But then
midlife crisis.
I know. Ding 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 ding. And then there's a part of me that feels, and it's really weird, and I'm gonna say this, I've given zero fucks in my life what people have thought about me, like literally zero fucks. If I cared, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
But there is a part of me that wonders what people in my industry will think of me if I were to take like a sabbatical.
Realtors are so judgmental.
So judgmental.
Like actually, it's so judgmental.
Right. And like
it's Anyway.
It's stupid though. Like I shouldn't care.
No.
And I know you would feel the same way.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And my mom said something interesting to me. Sorry to stutter there. Interesting to me. She said, they're only going to raise a brow because they're jealous if they judge, because you can afford to not work and live your best life. Yeah. And a lot of people would envy being able to take a sabbatical or go travel or take an extended period of time, because like as a woman, you don't actually get to take any time off in your adult life unless you're in mat leave, and like that still works.
It's not time off.
It's not time off.
Yeah.
But like we don't have that same balance that like other countries have.
No.
With work and life balance, and being able to be like, oh, like I'm a teacher and I get a couple months off in the summer. Like we go hard, and we go hard all the time. Having a family too. So like, I feel like I missed the boat on that, or like the ship has sailed.
Why?
Because I don't want to be an old mom. Right? Like, let's just say, and for all of our listeners out here, I went off the birth control pill a year ago, actually, last July. And
that's what's triggering the midlife crisis. Is you getting off of birth control.
I feel much better being off of it.
Of course you do. You're a functioning human being now.
Yeah, without artificial hormones.
Jesus. It should be illegal.
I know, no kidding. And I was on it for, I can tell you right now, 23 years.
That's fucked up.
Straight, no breaks. On the pill. Wild, right?
I was on the pill for like 3 years.
Yeah, most people aren't. I got on it at 16 years old and went off at 39.
That's wild.
I know.
Oh my God.
But I've had this.
You're a kook.
No wonder. That's just one of the reasons. Let's be real. And I've had this reoccurring dream, which my family and like that I'm gonna get pregnant. Like I've had this fucking dream that I'm gonna get pregnant by accident.
You've been on birth control. You think it's just gonna happen like that?
Well, my doctor says it can.
Well, of course it can, but like you've been on birth control for how long?
23 years.
23 years. Of course you're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm gonna get pregnant.
Yeah, like I have this fear, and like I
have a friend that got pregnant while she was on birth control.
Yeah, no, I was like had a reminder on my phone. I'm so A-type. Like I was
she had an IUD and she got pregnant. Like, so anything's possible.
I know.
As long as like whatever
God
has planned for you.
I know. I'm a baby in this bitch.
So if you're gonna get pregnant, you're gonna get pregnant. So.
And I've never tried to get pregnant, right? So like intentionally. So, but I do feel like my age, like if I were to get pregnant in the next little while, I don't want to be like 60 or 61 with a 20-year-old. Ew.
Why?
That's an old mom.
I know. Like my mom was 28 when she had me, and that like. I feel like my time is ticking. Like I'm 32. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old.
Don't get me started. You're gonna make me have a wrinkle. I'm gonna raise a brow.
No, but I think that no, but there's tons of people that are over 40 that are having like their first kids. There's tons of people. Times are changing. They don't get like women.
Because we're focusing on careers.
Exactly. The times have changed.
I
Like
know.
when my grandparents had their kids, they were like 19, 20, but all they had to worry about was being a mom.
I know, but like I do feel like, listen, I get a lot done in a day, truthfully. Like I get more done in the first like 5 hours of my day that some people get done in a full day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give myself credit there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that like I'm definitely more tired. I don't bounce back. Like I feel the differences in my body at 40.
Yeah.
Compared to when I was younger. So it's like, would I even be able to keep up with a child? And I'm gonna like be very honest here. I don't even know if you know this about me. Even though I was with someone for 15 years, and I told this recently to a guy that I'm dating, I didn't ever want to marry him. That should have been like a fucking red flag.
Yeah.
I know, okay? But so I've also never met a man that I looked at and I was like, oh, I want you to be my baby daddy.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'd have a child if I like saw something in a man and I thought like that's him, that's the guy that I'd want, you know, his sperm from, like genetically. And then also the fact of like I want him to be actively involved. Like I don't just like want a father who's not under the same roof.
Yeah, totally.
Like I want a traditional relationship.
Yeah. I think it's also funny that like we're talking about like us as women having midlife crises, because I feel like historically, whenever you say like, "Oh my God, they're having a midlife crisis," I think of a man right away.
Me too.
But it's because the roles are so different now.
In reverse.
And yeah, almost. But like, I feel like women are feeling that a lot.
The pressure.
The pressure of like having to work and having your kids and having this and having that. So like, definitely at like 40 to 45, I can imagine that there are these women that are like,
okay, but hold on though. So let's go to that, because I feel like
probably even earlier.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering here. There is, I want to say here, the average age. Bear with me here. It's young. Like you're gonna be shocked when I share this stat with you. I want to say it was like 33 or 34. Let me just pull this up.
For women?
Yeah, like, and this is why I Googled it, because I thought to myself, like, we're going into perimenopause earlier and things like that. And so I was like,
I'll tell you exactly why it's 33 to 34. Because women are just having their kids. The average age for a woman now is later.
Like postpartum?
So it could be postpartum, or it could be them having to go back to work. I have someone in my life that's very close to me that is having a really, really hard time with having to leave their kid, because
I think that would be me too.
They don't even, the thing is like, everyone has to work. We all know that. Like the world, this is how our world in the West is built. Okay.
And dual income households.
And dual income, you have to, right? But the way it's set up, that you have to leave your kid at like 1 year old.
Yeah.
And they don't know what's going on.
No.
And then you have to go back to a job that
doesn't have the same.
But you don't even care about.
It doesn't have the same meaning once you have a child.
Yeah. But you don't care about it to begin with anyway.
That's right.
Or you're not really passionate about it anyways, but now having to justify going back to work and leaving your kid.
Totally. It's a double whammy.
There's no way. Like I totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it. Okay. There's like career changes and everything in that time frame for women, because they want to adjust their.
Okay, well, hold up. So let's think about that. In 2017, how many years ago is that? 7? Right? So I was 33 when I made my career change into real estate. So fuck me.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, so I have like generic stats for us, and then I have millennial stats for us. So we talked about earlier that 10 to 20% of people have claimed to experience a midlife crisis. If we're talking about just millennials.
And that's just accepting that you had a midlife crisis.
Accepting it and being hyper aware of it. Which a lot of people are not aware and are in denial.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
81% of millennials in a survey finds that they can't afford to have a midlife crisis though.
No.
Okay, so.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Now, in here too, this is where we get into some, 64% of millennials have experienced, look at you, you just sat up. You're like, I'm more interested right now. Let's talk about our people. 64% have experienced a life crisis. Okay. In 2024, 39% are currently experiencing a life crisis of some sort. 1 in 2 millennials are expected to have a midlife crisis. Our generation's fucking tired.
Oh, we're so tired.
All we do is work, and then we have to hear it from the boomers.
Yeah, that like, well, when I was your age.
Yeah, totally.
I walked to school uphill both ways and bought my house for $3.54.
Exactly.
Yeah.
1 in 10 millennials have already experienced a midlife crisis, and the average age is 34 years old.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's so wild.
I think it also has to do with like maybe the expectation, like the traditional expectation to be married with kids by the time you're like 30, 31.
Totally.
And then if that doesn't happen by the time you're like 33, 34, obviously you're going to have a mental fucking breakdown and try to drastically change what's going on in your life to see if there's like a better path for you.
But I feel like it starts younger. There's this pressure of choosing what you want to do with your life straight out of high school. I didn't know what the fuck and who I was at 18. I know. And then you go and spend thousands of dollars in either like
that is the most irresponsible thing
I know
ever.
So you're supposed to make a decision and you don't even know who you are. You're not developed.
No.
And either go to university or college. Then you come out and the expectation of getting a job in that industry is there. And you also are paying back student loans. And then the next big life event is like getting married, right? Because like, gosh, you're fucking useless in this world, especially being us European.
Yeah.
I was such a blasphemy in my family. Like I've never been married. I've never been engaged.
Yeah.
Never had a baby. So like I must be a lesbian. Literally, like what's wrong with her? Either like
she's a closet lesbian.
I'm a closet lesbian, or my expectations are too high. First. Yeah, you heard it here first. Natalie has her liquor license. I never heard that. Oh, it's my favorite term.
Oh my god.
But like, you know, then it's the pressure of that.
Yeah, totally.
And then by that time you're at 30.
Yeah,
and
then there's a lot of us that are like first generation, right? So like, definitely like the millennials.
Right. And then like after the kids, and we see this firsthand being our industry, it's like everybody's cock's got to be bigger because then it's like, okay, so you've done the school, you paid your loan, you found the man, you got married.
Yeah.
Then it's 30, you're supposed to have a kid. God forbid you don't have something. And then it's the house. Yeah. And then it becomes a battle of the houses because now
keeping up with the Joneses.
Nobody can have an entry-level house.
No.
Everybody wants like stone countertops and renovations and these big houses they can't afford.
And then they're house poor.
So there's those expectations, and then the cars, and then trying to keep up with stupid social media and like these lifestyles and the highlight reel, and also like how girls look. Like I can't believe how young girls are getting Botox and filler and pressures like that to look a certain way and show up. And like I feel pressures, like horrible pressure online.
Yeah.
Like I never feel good enough to be online.
No, I know.
So I feel like it's a rat race, and I feel like
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and I'm not even sure you ever catch up to it, because here I am at 40, and you know, when we were recording one video, when we were talking about the expiry date of a woman, you know, and I said, it's me. And I'm not kidding. I know that there's a lot of young men out here that are liking me and interested in me. And perhaps I don't look, act, or feel my age at 40, but like, if you think that there's not a day that goes by that I'm not looking at myself being like, well, fuck me, I'm going to crack any day. Like, I'm going to get wrinkles and I am going to look older. Like, I'm fortunate up until this point with genetics and being European that like I've got nice dewy plump skin and like I don't have wrinkles and you know I'm trendy and so I look younger, but I don't know, like what's 5 or 10 years? And my mom keeps going, you're gonna be J-Lo at 50, you're still gonna be hot. And I'm like, I'm glad you think that, but like, I mean, the pussy still will be good. Just saying.
What midlife crisis?
But it's like biologically, I'm still that age. Like an old car is an old car.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Did you see that clip of I don't watch the Kardashians, but I saw a clip that they all did their biological age, not like their chronological age. And Kim was like if that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does. But Kim is
I'm
pushing.
gonna do it after this episode.
How old is she?
I think she's my sister's age, like 43.
Yeah, so she was 20. No, she was
43,
30,
44.
34 biologically.
Like, did she do this recently?
Yeah.
Apparently? Okay.
And then Chloe's I think in her late 30s.
Yeah, she's
maybe
younger.
40.
I think she's my age, like 84.
Yeah, and her biological age is 28. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it was actually like, I mean, they did it like with a doctor and like whatever. I mean, these celebrities pay for like whatever.
And the access to things that they have. I know.
But yeah, it was really interesting actually. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Totally.
Yeah, to see what your biological age is.
So most common mental struggles during life crisis, and this is specific to millennials, 58% say loss of purpose, 57% say sadness in general, 54%
just sadness. Just melancholy.
I feel it sometimes.
Just melancholy.
54% is burnout, which like I feel burnt out all the time. I never wake up feeling refreshed. 89% is anxiety, and 76% is depression. The most common experiences during a life crisis is interesting too. You either lose or gain weight, which I can attest to both of those things during rough times in my life. Consuming more alcohol, attending therapy, check. New appearance, hair, clothing. No, I mean, I feel like I'm always been cute, like stylish. And then a new hobby. I mean, I just started back pole this year. Fuck me. Maybe I am. I don't know, having one.
I feel like a lot of people just don't realize that they're going through that. Like, calling it a midlife crisis is kind of harsh. I think like people can just like live their life. Like if you're going off the fucking rails, like then that's a little bit different. I would be like, that's a midlife crisis. If someone like, I mean,
you did tell me I was going 0 to 100 with like going to bed at 9:30 and then coming home at 5:07 a.m. for a date. So,
well, it's just not characteristic of you, but you are.
I'm trying to live in the moment, though.
Yeah, which is but I mean, you're not going on like a fucking bender, and you're not going to like.
No, I'm not dating multiple people, and I didn't.
And doing a bunch of drugs like that.
No, and that was one night. It's not multiple nights. It was a one-off.
Which is fine. It could be multiple nights. I wouldn't call that a midlife crisis though.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think.
Thanks for making me feel better.
I think you're okay.
Okay. This was interesting too. So they say 49% of millennials feel trapped in their life.
Oh.
85 feel trapped by money, which I get. 72% feel trapped in a life circumstance. And this is a big one. I think a lot of people feel this. 70% say they are not where they thought they would be at this point in their life.
Yeah, totally, of course.
And I think you have to let go of that. Like that was something I did in therapy, was like when my ex cheated and I chose to leave him because I knew I could not be with someone who had done that to me. I could not recover from that. So it was best for me to walk away. And then the accident happened the same year. It was such a tough year for me, having both of those big life events. I had to let go of what I thought my life looked like and what it was going to be. And I had to accept what it was. And like the 7 stages of grief was something that I had to do in rehab because like I was in fucking denial. And the first step is acceptance. Like, you had a car accident. These are your injuries. This is going to be your recovery. Like your ex cheated and like you're single and you're going to have to like start your life over and figure it out.
It was like a rebirth.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to find out who I am and I'm learning about myself through dating and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are constantly comparing because I know I compare myself. We always called it like inside joke, like before accident, after accident.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I think that a lot of like the comparison also for us, for our generation, has to do with social media too. And we always go back to that, but it's something that I studied in school. Cool. the effect that social media has on our generation specifically, because we didn't have it before. Our parents never had it.
No.
But now we're actively able to compare our life to someone else's highlight reel.
Yeah.
And of course that's detrimental to your mental health. Yeah. I don't know what the next generations are going to be like, but like, of course we're experiencing it. So when you're comparing a boomer Like
Yeah.
their midlife crisis could be going out and buying a
Okay,
Corvette.
no offense though, to
And
interrupt you. Their midlife crisis was because they were wearing legit OG mom jeans.
yeah,
Okay, and we're Karens.
yeah,
And like, I think moms back in the day looked like a mom, where like we don't fit that stereotype. Like, if you still want to wear heels and
yeah.
like a bodycon
But
dress and push a
they're
stroller, you can at our age. But like,
yeah,
I feel like those women age themselves. And so, like, going through a midlife crisis, like 40 was old back in the day,
yeah, yeah. I
you
know. Well,
know?
because they had kids so young too, so it's a
And
little
they
bit
didn't take
different.
care of themselves though, like we did.
Yeah, it's different.
Like we do. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
present time.
Yeah, but I think that like just the comparison in and of itself, because going like just think about having to grow up during their generation. The only way that you knew what was going on in someone else's life is if you heard about it from someone
Or they
else
told
or
you.
you saw them or whatever they told
Yeah.
you. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
So that's where you get that highlight reel from. Our
Yeah.
highlight reel is
I know.
at our fingertips at all times. So when you're like, they say comparison is the thief of joy.
Joy. I love it.
So
Yep.
like, of course we're gonna, when we're looking at stats comparing us to boomers, of course we're gonna have an earlier than expected midlife crisis.
You know what's interesting about the social media thing? So I went out with a friend over the weekend, and I mean, listen, sometimes I look at my stories and I'm like, wow, if I didn't know myself, I look like I'm living the best motherfucking life. Like, I can look at my stories and go, wow, like they look really great. Like, she looks like she has a great life.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I let so many people into my life, but I'm so intentional. Like, so people can think they know so much about me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys have no clue.
Yeah.
Like, I don't drop men on my page. I don't let people know who I'm dating, names. They don't know if I'm on a date with a friend.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very protective of that, because I don't feel like everyone deserves to have access to me. But at the same time, people want to know the behind the scenes person in our industry.
Right.
So it's dropping enough about your life to let them in and still trying to keep private, which is super important to me because I'm actually a very private person. So yes, to go back to what you're saying, they are comparing it to the highlight reel, but I have shared when I've had bad days online. I've shared stuff about my ex. I've shared stuff about my accident, but for the most part, people are thinking I'm living my best life, and they might not know that I'm like super anxious that day, or that I'm spiraling because like a guy I'm dating is getting in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And I'm questioning myself.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
But like others don't.
Yeah. So I mean, we live a crisis every fucking day.
Every day.
That's literally all it is.
It's no joke. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's why I say I skipped the whole midlife crisis thing if I was ever to get one.
But there's still time though, because technically it's 40 to 60. It's saying that the millennial average age though is 40. So like, you might experience something later. Like, if you end up having a family, you don't know what it'll be like after child.
Yeah,
you'll be before child, after child. I'm before accident, after accident version. Okay, so 62% of people have a delayed major life milestone because of financial reasons. So like, either they can't afford like a wedding, or they can't afford like the house, things like that.
Yeah.
And 30% have a delayed major life milestone because of mental health reasons. So it says here that they don't mentally feel stable at this point in their life, which I actually get, because I feel like none of us really feel, I mean, damn it, in our industry, it's hard because we don't know where our next dollar is coming from or when it's coming. Hell, you know, I'm trying to get a commission paid to me that hasn't been paid, and it's like months.
Yeah, it's not for the weak.
No.
This industry, yeah, for sure.
Someone once told me getting into real estate that you needed thick skin and a tough gut.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And it's like, you need both those for sure. And even at that, like, I mean, damn, 50% people leave in the first 18 months. So, okay, this one's kind of sad. 56% of millennials feel like they've not succeeded in their adult life, which I think goes back to the comparison.
I think it's honestly the societal pressures.
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to live this life, and like, we're supposed to live a better life than our parents lived, but with a hell of a lot less.
Yeah.
Like, when we're comparing, hell of a lot less. And yeah, there's people that will never own a home. But like, to their generation, that makes absolutely no sense.
I know.
How do you not own a home? But the ratio, like the income to like their income was a lot higher.
Yeah,
like,
but they could also So the baby boomers could have one income, so they could have a single
Yeah.
income household.
Yeah.
They also had job security that we didn't have.
Mhm.
They had pensions. Okay. I feel like our generation is like, I feel like we're the generation of like a juggler.
Mhm.
I feel like we have multiple gigs.
Mhm.
We're dabbling because like no one offers full time.
Yeah.
So you're doing multiple different streams of things to bring in income
Yeah.
and to make ends meet. And you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Mhm.
Like pensions are a joke.
Yeah.
You know, job security is a joke.
Well, yeah, you have to think of also like what the population is here too now.
Right.
Right? So it's completely different.
I know.
And the like housing is not affordable and it's
No.
not what it was like.
No, and
before.
like we talked a little bit about this before you and I off air. I always knew I didn't want to live long term in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was going to be Florida, truthfully. Weird. But my cousin and I were talking last year, and she was one of the first people. And then I started to notice how many other people felt the same way, and it was more prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's saying, like, Canada is not the place to be an entrepreneur and be self employed. Like the way it's set up now, it used to be.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Right. More beneficial, but it's garbage now.
Yeah.
And so, like, now I'm looking at, well, like, where would I want to live where I'm not paying all these taxes and I can still do what I love and like live in a country that I feel is more aligned with my values
Mm-hmm.
than Canada. Because like I obviously love where I live, but it's hard being out here.
Yeah.
And you know, you and I have talked like long-term plans. Like I would love to have boots on the ground here with the business, but also be able to be remote and work from anywhere.
Yeah.
And travel abroad and maybe follow someone if I met someone and follow them and things like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't really know where that is at this point, but I just think Canada ain't it.
Yeah.
It ain't it.
You move abroad midlife crisis. You do anything with your life midlife crisis.
Stop.
No, that's how I feel it is. That's how I